Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce our sign language interpreters for today, Ms. Preeti Sapra and Mr. Atul Kumar, who are from the Association of Sign Language Interpreters. So during the course of the event, Preeti and Atul should be visible to you on your screens. If you're unable to view them, I'd request you to please swipe through the speaker screens on your device. And if the interpreters are still not visible, a request to please join the webinar from a laptop or a desktop. Thank you for understanding. My name is Meera, and on behalf of the Center for Mental Health, Law and Policy at the Indian Law Society, Pune, it is a true honor to warmly welcome each one of you joining us today from across the globe. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Though at the cost of repeating myself year on year, I have to say this again, that I truly believe that this gathering is a powerful testament to our shared connection with Keshav Desiraju, an acknowledgement of the deep respect we hold for him and the quiet yet compelling strength of his values that continue to stay with us. The Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health was instituted by the Center for Mental Health, Law and Policy in 2022. With this award, we aim to honor the life and legacy of Keshav Desiraju, a former Union Secretary of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and a distinguished officer of the Indian Administrative Service. Over the course of his remarkable career, Keshav Desiraju held several key positions in the Union government and the government of Uttarakhand. Today, the 11th of May 2025, marks Keshav Desiraju's 70th birth anniversary. And each year, as we gather to commemorate and honor his life and work, we do so with the steadfast commitment to preserve and advance his legacy. Keshav Desiraju dedicated his life to public service, bringing about meaningful change through every role he undertook. A true leader in both principle and practice, he led by example. His contributions were pivotal in shaping progressive legislations, establishing technical committees, and enhancing governance systems. Among his many significant contributions, he will especially be remembered for two of the most groundbreaking initiatives: the National Mental Health Policy of 2014 and the Mental Health Care Act of 2017. And these are initiatives that have redefined the landscape of mental health in India by embracing an inclusive and rights-oriented framework. Keshav Desiraju placed great importance on drawing from the knowledge of specialists, on-ground professionals, and perhaps most significantly, the voices of those whose lives were shaped by these policies. He challenged rigid rules and cut through red tape, always grounding his policy decisions in real-world evidence. His approach to leadership was characterized by authenticity and a readiness to engage with diverse viewpoints, whether in agreement or dissent. He led with humility, always open to dialogue and growth through listening. Keshav Desiraju was a man of wide-ranging interests, spanning public healthcare, human rights and social justice, education, and the environment. And beyond his professional life, he held a deep appreciation for art and music. Friends remember him as authentic and grounded, never one to seek admiration or put on airs. He valued love, cherished friendships, and gave generously of his appreciation. His sincerity and warmth left a lasting impression on all those who knew him. And each year, we are extremely grateful to be joined by Mr. Desiraju's friends, family, and colleagues for this very special virtual awards ceremony. Through the heartfelt reflections of our speakers, each time we continue to uncover the many layers of his extraordinary character and the countless individuals he has inspired along the way. This award ceremony serves not only as a tribute to his memory, but also as a call to action to carry forward his legacy. It is our duty to uphold the values he embodied, that of fierce honesty, integrity, dedication to duty, excellence in all pursuits, and social justice for all. And we hope for all these values to be instilled in the foundation of our society, empowering a new generation to champion these ideals with equal enthusiasm and dedication. The Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health is an annual award that honors individuals in government service who embody similar values as Keshav Desiraju and through their work are regarded as allies in making advances in the field of mental health in India. And as we begin this meaningful event today, I am honored to welcome our first speaker for the day, Mrs. Rohini Nilekani. Mrs. Nilekani is an author and philanthropist and has been a strong influence in the Indian social sector over the past 3 decades. Currently, she is the chairperson of Rohini Nilekani Philanthropies and a co-founder and director of Ek Step, a non-profit education platform, and a member of the Giving Pledge. She founded Argyam, a foundation for sustainable water and sanitation, and co-founded Pratham Books, a non-profit children's book publisher. A former journalist, she has written for many leading publications such as The Times of India, India Today, and Mint, among others. Penguin Books India published her first book, Stillborn, and her second book, Uncommon Ground. Her third was a self-published book, Samaj, Sarkar, Bazaar. She has written 17 books for young children, including the famous Sringeri Srinivas series. Thank you, Mrs. Nilekani, for graciously making the time to be with us here today. And the theme that you've chosen to speak on today is titled Seeing Like Samaj. That's very intriguing, and I invite you to share your thoughts with us on this. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meena. And I'm so honored to be here for this wonderful, wonderful thing instituted by Samitra and the MCLP. It's so fitting to have something like this for Keshav, who was a friend. I was very fortunate to have him on the board of Argyam, my foundation, where we worked on water and sanitation for several years. And one was the friendship where Ram Guha, Gopal Gandhi, Nandan Nilekani, myself, we would all meet. And my goodness, the range of topics that would be covered in those, I learned a lot. But on the board of Argyam, Keshav was amazing. He would be quiet and dignified. And once in a while, he would gently ask to speak. And that's how the sonar ki ek lohar ki becomes very true. Because in those one or two interjections that he would make, suddenly we would get a lot of clarity about the path ahead. And we all miss him dearly. So this is a real honor for me to be able to talk to all of you, channeling Keshav's and all the wonderful things that were just said about him, which are 100% true. On the mental health, I used to talk about to him saying, I want to do something on mental health. I want to do something on mental health. And we would talk about it a bit, but he went away really too early. And so I hope he would, from wherever he is, and maybe listening right now, say that, okay, at least you've made a beginning in this very important field. So one thing I would like to say is that Keshav showed us that Sarkar, and this is a very important thing, one of the finest bureaucrats I have ever met, he showed us that Sarkar is not unfeeling monolith, that it is really made up of so many dedicated individuals, some whom we see and meet, some who work very quietly and rather thanklessly in the background in the service of the Samaj. And I'm so pleased about this award because, as a society, we are generally geared towards recognizing outcomes. We can see some things when a road is built, when infrastructure is created, and we are using the metro, whatever it is, hospitals. But to think of what has to happen before those things become a reality, especially enabling policies. So let me tell you a bit about what I believe we can do to help and support mental health, which was so close to Keshav's heart. RNP, my foundation, started this journey very recently, 3-4 years ago, we decided that while so much needs to be done in the field of mental health, that we will start by supporting fundamental brain research to better understand the origins of 5 severe mental health disorders, which really make up a lot of the burden of disease in our country. The idea behind making our first grant in the space was to acknowledge the value of our national research institutions, which were so strongly backed by Keshav, and that do this wonderful, excellent work, though they have much fewer resources than institutions like theirs around the more developed world in the West. And during his service as the Union Health Ministry, Keshav Desiraju particularly enhanced efforts that resulted in NIMHANS, one of our partners at RNP, being designated as an institute of national importance. So we are supporting NCBS and NIMHANS to work with a large cohort of people over time to try and understand the root cause behind some of these very widespread diseases. We recognize very much that mental health is not a biomedical condition alone, that a majority of people who suffer from anxiety or stress or other common mental disorders can be helped through community initiatives, through local government programs, and really empathetic, caring, well-designed policies like the Mental Health Act of 2017. It looks to us that we cannot really address mental health top down in a very medicalized way. And that if we want Samaj, the well being of all members of our society, to be able to benefit from genuine care, we have to understand to see like a Samaj. When you see like a state, as James Scott wrote a marvelous book on this, or if you see like a bazaar, it is very different from seeing like a Samaj, which is looking at society, understanding needs from the bottom up, and having the ethical and moral leadership and the institutional structure within Samaj to be able to work with bazaar and sarkar on any issue, any sectoral issue, but looking like Samaj first. Because I do believe very strongly we are all Samaj first. Even Keshav, he may have been a union in the Union Health Ministry, but he was a human first, a citizen first, and many of his most sterling qualities as a human and a citizen is what he brought into the Sarkar sector. So seeing like Samaj, wherever you may be, to me is very important. For the state, it means that we have to recognize that while the state is very critical, it is not just institutional technical capacity that matters, that the state itself must learn to develop relational capacity depending on the quality of interaction between the agents of the state and citizens. And many empathetic officers in the Sarkar know this. They know, and that's how many organizations in civil society are able to work so closely with the Sarkar, because champions in the Sarkar recognize this need to embed the work in the Samaj. This also entails enabling Samaj institutions. There's a lot of Samaj capacity that needs to be developed to respond to the problems that they are closest to. So the question now, as post-pandemic, we still carry so much of a burden of mental health disease. How can all of us uh, help Samaj to build strong networks of trust, support, and community so that our collective resilience is high in the event of what may come again or in the event of uncertainties. And we are seeing today in the situation developing so unfortunately in our neighborhood, hopefully it will be resolved soon. But that, can you imagine the mental health burden right now of people in the north, people at the borders, children, women, men, people in service of in our defense services? How can we support people like that? How can society stand behind them strongly? And there will be repercussions later too to watch out for. And I think philanthropy is going to play a big role in the field of mental health now and going forward. So if there's any call to action, it is that we need much more philanthropic capacity and capital to come into the sector. Very quickly, I know I'm running out of time. Last year, we hosted the first National Mental Health Festival in Bengaluru at NIMHANS in partnership with both NIMHANS and NCBS. And it was wonderful to see how many community leaders, caregivers shared the stage along with the clinicians, and along with the medical professional and along with the scientists. The kind of work that CSO, civil society organizations, volunteers, and NGOs are doing today, even when it comes to very medical issues like dementia, schizophrenia, etc., is truly commendable. As we started our work in mental health, I was delighted to find how many phenomenally good organizations exist, just like CMHLP, in India, that are working at the grassroots, working with health institutions to really make our mental health uh, much more stable, and we have millions more people to reach. This year too, we are hosting the National Mental Health Festival. We have invited proposals from the public for this festival. We really want this to become something that is an event looked forward to by the whole sector, where Samaj people, Sarkar people, Bazaar people can come together to dialogue, to discover ways in which to partner ahead, make collaborations, unlock ideas, resources. We want creative people to come in. What I learned, my last point, what I learned myself when I myself experienced mental health disorder. I used to, when my children were very small, I suddenly developed like panic attacks and panic disorder. At first, I didn't even know what was happening to me. Luckily, I saw a TV program which tells me how important it is that the news media, social media, keep on building awareness with the help of the government and with Samaj institutions. Once I knew what was happening to me, I was able to get the temporary medical help that I needed. But what helped me come out of it quickly was the support of my family and the support of my friends. And I wish everybody could get that kind of support. And I think that's what Keshav would have wanted, to see a confluence of the work of all the three sectors to make this very intersectoral issue of mental health, which is linked to every facet of our lives, to be supported. Today's our own host CMHLP has a fantastic community mental health program called Atmiyata. It's a wonderful example how a cost-conscious, ground-up model was developed and tested and implemented, and is now being even apparently taken up in different parts of the world. So I'll close there by saying I'm really happy that this memorial award is being conducted. So thanks to CMHLP. Thanks for hosting this. Thanks so much for having me here to speak. And all of us need to do so much more together to improve the mental health burden in our country. Far too many people have far too little access. There is much work ahead, and we shall all do it in our good friend Keshav's name. Namaskar and Dhanyavad.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nilikani, for this, and really appreciate you speaking about your own mental health journey as well. And indeed, viewing the world through the lens of society as a collective of people, relationships, norms, shared responsibilities, I think is a value that Keshav Desiraju believed in. He was a man of few words, because I think he spent his time really listening and then serving the public in ways that would leave a lasting impact. Thank you so much for talking about all of this. Really
Thank you
appreciate it.
very much. Thank you so much. I'll go on mute now. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, it fills me with deep gratitude and warmth to now introduce and invite our next guest this evening, Mr. Satyajit Ranganathan. Mr. Ranganathan is Keshav Desiraju's nephew and will share his memories and speak on behalf of the family. Thank you, Mr. Ranganathan, for being with us here today. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Meera. Greetings, everyone, wherever in the world you are, and gathered here remembering Keshav Desiraju on his 70th birthday. I would like to speak a little personally on behalf of his birth family to his global family. We each have an origin story of when we first met him. I made it a practice to keep track. I know that Vandana of the Banyan met him around 2011, Shri Gopal Gandhi around 1982, Dr. Ramachandra Guha around 1989, So I was a little competitive about this. As his nephew, as a matter of fact, the one who made him an uncle, I showed remarkable competitive alacrity in this department by first meeting him on the day that I was born. Today also happens to be Mother's Day, and one cannot think of him without, in the same breath, thinking of his mother. He kept a youthful black and white picture of her by his bedside from as long as I can remember. She was a formidable astrologer and once told me that as per the stars, or at a minimum from her Bhavan's journal collection, my life journey would conclude either at 13 or 67. That was rather a tough message for an 11-year-old. Keshav and I were walking to the post office in Koramangala in 1980, and I was carrying an important document, which flew out of my hand onto the road. I started to chase it and froze as he yelled my name, and a split second later, a lorry went past my nose. So he helped me get past the first deadline of 13. I'll have to navigate past 67 on my own. We lived in Varanasi in the early years, and his being in the UP cadre in the IAS meant that he could be expected late some evening in a jeep from Pithoragarh, and I did my best to stay awake for that. On one of his visits, he dashed off a letter to my grandmother saying that Satyajit, I'm sorry to report, is tone deaf. Rather rough on an 8-year-old, but I'm here to tell you that we each of us have been evaluated by him on the ruling metric of his life, which was music. Not on a sliding scale of 1 to 10, but a cold Boolean, and I was found wanting. An epilogue to this narrative was that my mother got an inland letter a few weeks later from a concerned grandmother, inquiring as to what had happened to her grandson's hearing and that he is now stone deaf. Truth be told, he was like no other person I have known, and I hung around him every opportunity I could. I visited him in the IAS Academy, Mussoorie, the Subdivisional Magistrate Bungalow in Almora, Butler Palace in Lucknow, Andrewsganj Extension on Tito Marg in Delhi, Peabody Terrace in Cambridge, Massachusetts when he was at Harvard, Rajpur Road in Dehradun, Bharati Nagar Humayun Road in Delhi, Balaji Nagar in Chennai, and of course the house he built in Paudhar, Uttarakhand, where the first ritual one did with him was walk up to the Bandari Devi temple to the top of the neighboring hill. I helped source some of the items and catalogued and documented his collection of lithographs of Banerjee, Dhurandhar, and Raja Ravi Verma. I wore for 4 years at IIT Kanpur, to much mocking and derision, the red pants that Jupiter Sen gave to Julius Sen and was then palmed off on me, as they were gentlemen of taste and discretion. I knew I would do anything that had something to do with my uncle. Those pants were pink and threadbare by the time I graduated. He was the president and the Pope of my world. I attended his graduation from Harvard in 1996, and I asked him while at his Café Pamplona, favorite Café Pamplona. I went and checked last year, it is now closed thanks to COVID, that he seemed so happy in Cambridge, then why Andrewsganj Extension, which he once famously described as less Andrews and more Ganj. He said that 11 months in Andrewsganj and 1 month in Cambridge was just fine by him. In the grief of his passing, I was still amazed at the warp and the weft of his impact, as articulated in the condolence meetings, on the lives of people by his thought, action, and intervention. I can only poorly paraphrase, but hopefully capture the spirit of what Mrs. Jo Chopra said in one of them that remains with me through these years. Keshav believed that every citizen of India was equally deserving of access to the services they needed from their government, and that this sentiment informed his approach to being a civil servant. When I told him that I was taking up US citizenship, his response was, "I hope you're not expecting me to congratulate you." He was a proud citizen and humble servant of India. He had integrity in his character. He had love in his heart. He had books in his mind, and he had music in his soul. He was a man for all seasons. On behalf of the family, I acknowledge our shared sorrow that does not seem to abate as the years roll by. I am grateful to Dr. Pathare and the Center for honoring his legacy in their work and with this event. I congratulate the winner of tonight's award and indeed felicitate all those who work in often underserved spaces to improve the lives of the citizens of India, a mission that was so very dear to my uncle, Keshav Desiraju. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ranganathan, for sharing these anecdotes with us and for taking us back in time and painting such a beautiful picture of Keshav Desiraju, the human being. I'd also like to extend our deepest gratitude to the entire family for supporting this endeavor year on year and for helping us really keep the spirit and legacy of Keshav Desiraju alive through your presence and participation in this program every year. We truly appreciate it. Thank you. I'm honored to now introduce our next speaker, someone who has shared a deep and lifelong friendship with Keshav Desiraju, Dr. Ravi Chellam. Dr. Chellam is the CEO of MetaString Foundation, coordinator of the Biodiversity Collaborative, and a professor of coexistence studies at the University of Transdisciplinary Health Sciences and Technology. With a career spanning over 4 decades, Dr. Chellam's work focuses on wildlife biology and conservation science. He has spent more than 17 years with the Wildlife Institute of India and served as Program Officer Biodiversity at the United Nations Development Programme. He has held leadership roles as Director of the Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment, WCS India Programme, and Greenpeace India. For 4 decades, Dr. Ravi Chellam has been involved with research and conservation of the Asiatic lions, a species he studied for his PhD. He has been actively advocating for the translocation of lions to establish a second free-ranging population of lions, which was ordered by the Supreme Court of India in April 2013. More recently, he's been engaging and commenting on the introduction of African cheetahs in India. Dr. Chellam has worked extensively with government bodies and national and international NGOs and has served on various government committees related to biodiversity research and conservation. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Chellam. It is with great reverence and warmth that I invite you to share your reflections in your tribute titled, My Friend Keshav. The mic is yours.
Good evening. Thanks, Meera. I first heard the name Keshav Desiraju a long time before I actually met him. I think it was around the time he did his first deputation at the Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India in the early 1990s. Desiraju is not a very common name, at least for me then, so it's a name that stuck in my mind. But I met him only in the later half of 2002 under rather interesting circumstances, and pretty quickly we became close friends. There were a lot of common friends and reference points in our lives, given that we had spent many years in Madras. The transition from calling him Sir and Mr. Desiraju to Keshav was seamless and quick. I would like to recall Keshav using some of the characteristics that have stuck with us. And in many ways, Meera, you, Rohini, and Satyajit have kind of taken the wind out of my sails by, all of us have very, very common ways of remembering Keshav, but still I will do my bit to try and enhance our understanding and memory and affection for the man. The first term that comes to mind when I think of Keshav is his generosity. Generosity with his time, knowledge, vast and unparalleled network of friends and professional colleagues, always willing to help by opening doors, providing introductions, enabling connections, and his willingness to listen and provide wise counsel. He was a very kind and caring man, genuine, authentic. There was never any false pretenses with him, no airs of being an IAS officer, and he always paid great attention to detail. To the extent that he always wished me on my birthday. And in March 2021, during the second wave of COVID-19, which was my 60th birthday, he gifted me clothes, taking the trouble to purchase and send it by a courier service. He was witty with a wonderful and yet understated sense of humor. He was a charmer with a killer smile and a mischievous twinkle in his eyes. Erudite, with a wonderful collection of books to match his scholarship. His masterpiece on MS Subbulakshmi is proof of his knowledge, meticulous attention to detail, and fantastic writing skills. He's also a man with phenomenal memory of people, events, music concerts, and much more. And he loved to gossip. Very fine taste and eclectic taste. His collection of music, lithographs of Raja Ravi Verma, posters, books, and much more, are evidence of that. Great conversationalist. When somebody has all the other characters I just described, obviously, he's somebody who's going to be very, very interesting to have a conversation with. He was a wonderful host. He loved to have people around him. Went to great pains planning meals for guests. And, this was a senior, he's older to me, senior IAS, Secretary to Government of India. Post his retirement, when I was one morning going to take a flight very early, by 4:30, my hot filter coffee was ready, made by Keshav. I mean, who would expect something like that? Because of our friendship, Keshav's home, either in Delhi and Chennai, became the default places for me to stay whenever I was traveling through those cities. And there have been occasions when I used his home, even when he was not in town. There was a phase of about 6 months in 2012, when almost every week I was in Delhi I serve as an expert advisor to the Forest Bench of the Supreme Court when it was hearing the line translocation case. And Keshav not only was the home, but also a great advisor in terms of how to conduct myself in court. He was a man of impeccable and great integrity. He had a clear vision as a civil servant, and more generally for civil servants across the board. Their role was to do good for the public, focus on the weaker sections of society. And he would pay great attention to even individual cases and follow-up, something at the secretary level you wouldn't expect. He was always exploring ways to improve and make things happen, change things for the good. And for that, as already mentioned, the Mental Health Care Act of 2017 will forever stand testimony. Extremely knowledgeable of not only the subjects that his work involved, but of the government processes, and more widely in terms of politics, current affairs, music, and the arts. And he was always finding a way to get things done. Extremely hardworking, highly efficient, and very self-effacing. No airs at all, and at the same time did not tolerate those who didn't mean well or wasted his time. He detested those who did not even try to deliver the results that their roles mandated them to. He was a fine leader, an excellent mentor, and not to forget, a very fine family man. I think how am I doing for time, Meera?
You have a couple of minutes.
Okay, good. Then I can reflect on a couple of personal incidents. As I said, I first met him under very interesting circumstances. In June or July of 2002, I'd applied to go on deputation to the UNDP, finally got selected. And when I had to join the Wildlife Institute and the Government of India Ministry of Environment, we were putting one obstacle or the other, which is causing a lot of delay. And I was clueless as to how to deal with this. Keshav and me had a common friend, Dr. Prashant Upadhyay in Dehradun. I had only heard Prashant mention Keshav's name. So I called Prashant and said, Prashant, this is the problem. He said, oh, Keshav is your guy. Go and meet him. So I got Keshav's number from Prashant, called him. Ravi, come and meet me at English Book Depot. We'll have a coffee this evening. So here I go, meet the man, explain things to him. Quickly, we lapse into Tamil. And then he says, okay, come to office next day. And he was serving as a principal secretary to the government of Uttarakhand. We go to this enormous office. It's one of the biggest offices I've seen. I think the ceiling height was 25 feet or something like that. And this huge table, he was sitting. I went there, and the senior IAS officer drags his chair to the laptop and says, Ravi, come and sit next to me. Tell me the details. I will type a draft letter for you, which you need to write to the Government of India. This is the first time I'm meeting this man. Second time I'd met him the previous evening. But that's how he was. Genuine, wanting to help, no airs. Soon after was Deepavali, and we invited him home for lunch. And he was driving in his own car, and about 5-6 kilometers short of the Wildlife Institute of campus in Chandrabani, his car stopped. So I get this panic call. Ravi, I don't know what's happened. The car has stopped. I said, you're Secretary to Government of India. You don't know what has happened to your car. So I kind of take my car and run up. It was a simple thing. It just ran out of petrol. But that was the man. I mean, at one level, very controlled, fully knowledgeable. In other cases, completely vulnerable and open to, just exposing himself. And the last time I met him was in February 21 when he came home. He had come on a family visit to visit Sucharita, who'd been hospitalized, I think, or maybe Rangu was hospitalized, I forget now. And the next morning he had a flight. He'd come home, stayed with us, had dinner. I dropped him off at the airport. And that's the last time I met him. Of course, we were frequently in touch on WhatsApp, email, and phone calls. And on the 5th of September, I would have normally spoken to him. That morning, I said, let the function get over. Teachers, they function. I'll talk to him. Unfortunately, that was too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chellam. Thank you so much for taking us back in time and sharing such personal memories with us. If I may also take this moment to acknowledge your gracious support and thoughtful words of encouragement since the inception of this award in 2022. We really value your support. Thank you so much. We at the Center for Mental Health, Law and Policy had the honor of working closely with Keshav Desiraju as he played a pivotal role in several of our key initiatives. He shared a long-standing and very meaningful collaboration with our director, Dr. Soumitra Pathare. Together, as members of the National Mental Health Policy Group, they worked closely with others to redesign the district mental health program and shape the Mental Health Care Act of 2017, an important legislative milestone praised for reimagining how mental health care is understood and delivered in India. Keshav Desiraju's vision helped reshape the mental health landscape in India. He not only brought mental health to the forefront of the public health conversation, but also drew critical attention to the deeper structural inequalities at play. And through his work on policies and legislations, he was among the first to highlight how factors like caste, class, and gender disparities contribute to both the onset and persistence of mental health conditions. He recognized how these issues are closely intertwined with social identity and discrimination and worked to hold the state accountable and uphold principles of human rights and social justice. In 2020, we at the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy launched the India Mental Health Observatory, which in 2022 was renamed the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory in memory of Keshav Desiraju. He was a part of the steering committee and played a key role in shaping and advising the project's initiatives. So before we turn to the work of the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory, it is my honor to now invite Mrs. Vaijayanti Joshi, the Honorary Secretary of the Indian Law Society, the legal entity of the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy. Mrs. Vaijayanti Joshi is also the Director of Academics at the Indian Law Society's Law College. She has over 25 years of teaching experience, has authored 2 books and several articles, which have been published in various newspapers, law books, and journals. She has attended numerous national and international law conferences and has presented papers. Mrs. Joshi is a recipient of the prestigious state-level Asha Deep Award by Asha Deep Nyas Panvel for her invaluable contribution to the field of legal education for more than 2 decades. Her areas of interest are jurisprudence, family law, and administrative law. Thank you for always making the time to be with us, Mrs. Joshi, and I'll hand over the mic to you now. Ma'am, please can you unmute? Ma'am, may I request you to unmute? Ma'am, we can't hear you. Can I request you to unmute? On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the mic. No worries. Perfect.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Dear friends, on behalf of the Indian Law Society, I would like to say a few words about Keshav Desiraju and the award which we have instituted in his memory. Friends, I am deeply honored to be here today as we come together to celebrate the remarkable legacy of Keshav Desiraju, a true pioneer and visionary. Now in its fourth year, the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award continues to honor her legacy, and today it offers us a chance to look back at the strides we have made together. Established in 1923, the Indian Law Society is a legal institute with a distinguished history spanning over a century. It serves as a parent organization of the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy, which under the leadership of Dr. Soumitra Pathare has engaged in extensive research, action and advocacy in the field of mental health since 2007. Considering the growing national and global interest in the mental health and suicide prevention, the center is increasingly recognized as a leader in this domain. At the Indian Law Society, we are honored to support this Memorial Award initiative and extend our sincere appreciation and congratulations to all individuals and organizations contributing to the advancement of mental health in the country. Our long-standing association with Mr. Desiraju has been marked by his unwavering support for Indian Law Society and the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy, particularly through his close collaboration and association with Dr. Pathare. Mr. Desiraju was instrumental in reshaping the mental health landscape in India. He always championed for a transformative, right-based approach. As has been rightly acknowledged on many occasions, he was a key architect behind the Mental Health Care Act of 2017, and his contribution to mental health policy remain both profound and enduring. In 2022, as a tribute to Mr. Desiraju's visionary contributions to mental health in India, we renamed our key initiative, which is the India Mental Health Observatory. We renamed it as Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory. This renaming stands as a lasting acknowledgement of his legacy, and it reflects our ongoing commitment to strengthening mental health research and policy in this country. Mr. Desiraju's values and dedication to social justice continue to guide our work in mental health advocacy and policy as we remain committed to advancing his vision with integrity and purpose. I'm sure that the entire team of CMHLP always rather shows this commitment to their various programs, and they will continue to do so. With these few words, I thank each one of you for listening to me patiently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Joshi, for your presence this evening and for your speech. And we're really grateful for your continued support to the center and all our initiatives. Thank you so much. Though Keshav Desiraju is no longer with us, his vision remains of a country rooted in equality, secularism, inclusion, justice, and compassion, supported by a mental health system that truly responds to the lived realities of its people. We are immensely proud of our pioneering initiative, the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory, which has expanded substantially since its inception in the year 2020. The observatory has broadened its scope from a data repository to actively support and inform evidence-based policy making and reform. And we're pleased to play out a short video clip that encapsulates this journey of the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory. Thank you.
Globally, 1 in 8 people, nearly a billion, live with a mental health condition, a leading cause of disability. In India, the situation is equally urgent, with 1 in 7 individuals affected. Tragically, over 1.7 lakh lives were lost to suicide in 2022 alone. Despite this immense need, nearly 80% in India receive no mental health care. Our healthcare infrastructure faces severe strain, with a critical shortage of professionals, just 1 psychiatrist for every 13,000 needing support, and inadequate funding. In this complex landscape, the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory is working to bridge this gap through evidence-based policy research and reform. We translate data into actionable insights to shape effective policies grounded in real-world needs and realities. We evaluate policies and programs to support systemic change in mental health care. Recognizing that data gaps hinder progress, we've assessed the district mental health program in Chhattisgarh and reviewed adolescent-friendly health clinics in Sikkim to identify areas of improvement and reimagine mental health services. We also ensure well-researched information reaches those who need it most, with over 80 publications in the last 5 years. To foster change at the local level, we equip policymakers with the skills to address community mental health needs using creative approaches. Crucially, lived experience is central to our work. Through collaborations with international bodies like WHO, UNESCO, and other partners, we amplify the voices of lived experience, leading to initiatives like the Kathmandu Charter of Rights.
In a world facing rapid change, from income inequality and resource constraints to climate change and new technologies, mental health systems must be able to respond and adapt. The Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory will continue to collaborate with governments, individuals with lived experience, and health systems to advance mental health care for all. Together, we can forge a future of a stronger, more inclusive mental health system in India and beyond.
Many congratulations to my colleagues at the Keshav Desiraju India Mental Health Observatory. And now we arrive at the moment that the team has been preparing for over the past several months. But before I bring on the jury to announce the recipient of the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health for the year 2025, I'd like to very briefly take you through the selection process, followed by the organizing committee consisting of the award secretariat and our jury members. So beginning January 2025, we invited individuals from across the country to nominate themselves or others who met the eligibility criteria. Like each year, these announcements were made across our social media platforms, our website, and through emailers to individuals, groups, and networks. We also simplified the application process this year to ensure it was easy to navigate, regardless of the nominator's background or technical familiarity. Applicants were required to submit an online form, which consisted of 4 rigorous sections, each with a set of questions to learn more about the individual, their work, and their future plans to advance the field of mental health in India. As in previous years, the jury then independently reviewed all applications before convening in a closed-door deliberation to thoroughly discuss and evaluate each nomination, reaching a consensus on the most deserving recipient of the 2025 Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health. The award recipient will receive a memento and plaque specially designed in honor of Keshav Desiraju by artist and sculptor Abir Patwardhan. Crafted from brass and teakwood, the memento seeks to capture the many dimensions of Keshav Desiraju's life and work. Its flowing organic form is a symbolic expression of his generous nature and the spirited energy he brought to everything he pursued. The recipient will also receive a certificate and a citation by the jury, a prize of 50,000 rupees, and Keshav Desiraju's last completed work that was published in 2021, the critically acclaimed book Of Gifted Voice, The Life and Art of M.S. Subbulakshmi. It is with great excitement, and if I may say greater anticipation, that we now turn to the announcement of this year's award. And for this, I am honored to introduce you to our esteemed jury members. I'll begin with Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya. Mr. Bhattacharya graduated in 1971 in mechanical engineering from Bengal Engineering College, Calcutta University, now Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur, and joined as a design engineer in the well-known consulting engineering firm Development Consultants Private Limited. In 1975, he joined the Indian Administrative Service and was allotted the Andhra Pradesh cadre, where he served in various capacities as District Magistrate, Director of Technical Education, Transport Commissioner, Irrigation Secretary, etc., acquiring direct experience in the fields of infrastructure and public administration. He has also served on the Board of Governors of IIT Madras during 1981 to 82, and later on the boards of other companies. For 5 years, between 1990 to 1995, he served with the United Nations Development Programme in its Delhi office as the Chief of Programs in the fields of energy and environment. In the year 2000, he joined the Government of India as a Joint Secretary in the newly set up Department of Disinvestment and then served as Member Secretary of the Disinvestment Commission. He retired in 2009 from the Planning Commission of India as Principal Advisor in charge of Education and Culture. Subsequently, he served as Director and Head of the Delhi office of DCPL. He is a Fellow of the Institution of Engineers and has been its Council member from 2011 to 2013. He also served as the Vice President of the Consulting Engineers Association of India and has been awarded the Distinguished Alumnus Award by his alma mater, the Bengal Engineering and Science University, Shibpur. He now writes on issues and public interest for various newspapers and journals. Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya joined the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Missouri in 1987 as a faculty member, where he first met Keshav Desiraju, and their friendship continued over the years. Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya, for being a part of the jury since the inception of this award, and also for joining us this evening. Our next jury member is Dr. Anant Bhan. Dr. Bhan is trained as a medical doctor with a master's degree in bioethics from the University of Toronto. He's an adjunct visiting professor at Yenepoe, deemed to be university. He is also a past president of the International Association of Bioethics. His work is focused on ethics and equity in health, mental health, digital health, public health, research, community engagement, ethics of innovative technologies, and ethics training for professionals. Dr. Bhan has been a resource person for trainings in global health, research methodology, research ethics, and public health ethics, and serves as a guest faculty in various educational institutions in India and abroad. He has been a reviewer for multiple journals, conference scientific committees, and international grant competitions. He works as a researcher with Sangat at its Bhopal hub and is a principal investigator for various projects conducted at the hub, funded by both international and national funders. Dr. Bhan has been a member of several committees, including the WHO COVID-19 Ethics and Governance Working Group, the Steering Committee of the Global Forum for Bioethics and Research, the CIOMS Working Group on Good Governance Practice for Research Institutions, and the National ASHA Mentoring Group of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Thank you, Dr. Bhan, for again being a part of the jury since the inception of this award and again joining us this evening. Our third jury member is Ms. Sonalini Mirchandani. Ms. Mirchandani, a former civil servant, has extensive experience in the development sector with a focus on public health. She has held leading positions, including that of Country Director, Johns Hopkins University, Center for Communication Programs, and founder CEO, the Communication Hub. Her work has won international recognition, and she is a member of several advisory bodies, including at the Department of AIDS Control, CDMC MICA's Global Advisory Committee, and UNICEF's International Polio Communications Review Team. Ms. Mirchandani serves on the advisory boards of Population Foundation of India, SNEHA, Pallium India's Board Advisory Committee for Policy and Advocacy, and CCDT. She is a founding member of the Mumbai Palliative Care Network and director at Karuna Evam Shanti Vahini, that's the Keshav Foundation, a non-profit that she set up in 2022 to honor the legacy of Keshav Desiraju. Today, she is immersed in her work in community-led home-based care for the chronically ill in the Adivasi-dominated belt of Nandurbar district. This work has been recently awarded the highest award for excellence in humanity-centered design by the California-based Don Norman Design Award. Ms. Mirchandani first met Keshav Desiraju in August 1984 when he was a faculty member at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, and she had just joined as a young Foreign Service probationer. Despite moving on from the Foreign Service at a very early stage, she continued to stay in touch with Keshav Desiraju, building a friendship through the decades. She also turned to him for professional guidance as she began her work in public health research and communications. Thank you so much for being a part of the jury, Ms. Sonalini Mirchandani, as well as being present here today. I would now like to pass on the mic to you. Ms. Mirchandani will be speaking on behalf of all the jury members and walk us through the jury's thoughts, the process, and the other considerations while making the final selection of the award recipient this year. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I will try and keep this short because everyone is waiting to know who are the recipients of the award. First of all, thanks to the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy, and it's such a privilege to be here today. And my esteemed colleagues really have brought so much to the table with their vast experience. Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya with his vast experience in public administration and the civil services, and Dr. Anant Bhan and his understanding of the mental health landscape. So I was really the latest newcomer on this, and it was a privilege and a huge learning curve for me. They've really been invaluable in terms of the insights that they brought to the table. I've been asked to speak a few words on Mr. Keshav Desiraju, but I think so much has already been said that whatever I say will pale in comparison. And as Meera just mentioned, I've known him since 1984, and it's kind of strange that someday, we never really thought we'd be talking about him in the past tense someday, but here we are. When my husband Raghu and I set up Karuna Evam Shanti Vahini Foundation in his memory, we wanted to continue his legacy in areas of work that he was less known for: geriatric care, palliative care, disabilities, and so much else. The name derived from the name Keshav, Karuna from the Ka, and Shanti from the Sha, because we really, even today, believe that he was a channel of compassion and of peace in the most genuine understanding of both those terms. As we come to the recipients and the process, I do want to share that in the last 2-3 years since we've commenced our work in his memory in Nandurbar, there would be times when one would come across certain challenges and blockades and, in the road ahead. And I would always stop and think, I wonder what Keshav would have said here. I wonder what he would have advised. And then I know that it would have been some very simple questions. Is it just? Is it humane? Is it compassionate? Is what you're planning to do something that lends itself to amplification? Could you look at pathways to sustainability? And above all, importantly, is there some way in which you can engage with the public healthcare system so that the work can get amplified beyond what you are doing, where you are doing? And I think these are some of the criteria that came to mind as we began to look at the enormous number of really good and very sound nominations that came, because the body of work that we looked at reflected all of this. And I really, Dr. Bhan and Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya requested that I do the honors of sharing the process we went through. It wasn't easy because there were so many really meritorious candidates for this award. And I really would like to, at the outset, congratulate each and every one of those who were nominated for the incredibly good work that is being done on the ground. As we look at the filters that were used, I think many of the really pressing challenges that we are faced with today require us to sometimes think out of the box and to basically get out of the silos that we work in, whether these are in the government sector or in the not-for-profit sector. Because at the end of the day, if we have to make our goals align, we have to find creative pathways to working together. And I think we were looking for those who have really done this against the most challenging of circumstances. So today it gives me immense happiness and joy to announce the two winners, yes, of this year's Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health. And on behalf of Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya, Dr. Anant Bhan, myself, and all of us at CMHLP, I would like to announce the two winners. The first, and I don't mean this as first and second, both are on par. We have Dr. Sonam Lasopa with us, a senior clinical psychologist. I'll just say a couple of words. What we found in her application was this incredible understanding not only of the mental health space, a very sound academic, rigorous grounding that she has. Importantly, her ability to move the needle on the ground in small, meaningful, persistent ways to make change happen at the ground level. Something that Keshav was always very committed to, because at the end of the day, it was how do you make sure that the community and the frontline workers are engaged with the process and become your change agents moving forward. And we found that Dr. Sonam has done this despite several challenges, ma'am, that you faced in a state like Sikkim, where not only were you up against geographical terrain that was formidable, but there were natural disasters, and there were also issues of substance abuse that you had to grapple with when you were working in the mental health space. We were really glad to find the body of work that you do and continue to do. And she is one of the two awardees for today. The second, I'm pleased and honored to announce, is Dr. Darez Ahmed, an IAS officer from Tamil Nadu, who has taken an active interest in initiatives, demonstrated initiatives while he, did pioneer a lot of work under NHM. He really stepped out of his comfort zone of exactly what he's supposed to do under that, to do much more in allied and related fields. And it was multiple things, whether it was counseling services for students coming back from the Ukraine, or whether it was the very interesting work in banning pesticides in the context of suicide prevention. We found the work of Dr. Darez Ahmed to be significantly important and impressive. And we'd like to congratulate you, sir, for all that you have brought to the table. Before handing over to the others, just a last word. When the going gets tough, and it is going to get tough, and I'm not here to give you lectures, but I would like to share with you a memory of the year 2014, when the going got tough for Keshav, and when the news media was screaming from every channel about the move from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to consumer protection. And I remember getting in touch with him and saying, Keshav, how do you deal with all of this? And he said, Sonalini, everything around is just noise. I focus on the quiet within. So as you move ahead in the astounding and interesting and significant work you do, whenever there is surround sound and noise, I just hope all of us remember to keep focusing on the quiet within and continue to work in what we have to do, because this is what we have to do to make tomorrow a better world than where we are today. It is my extreme privilege to congratulate you on behalf of all of us. And thank you once again for having me on this very esteemed jury. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mirchandani, for those words of advice, definitely. And also thank you for being on the jury, for walking us through the process. I'd also like to thank Mr. Amitabh Bhattacharya and Dr. Anant Bhan. Many congratulations, Dr. Sonam Ongmu Lasopa and Dr. Darez Ahmed, on this well-deserved recognition and the impactful work that has led to this achievement. Before I hand over the mic to you, I'd like to read out the jury citation. I quote, Sonam Ongmu Lasopa is awarded the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health 2025 for her noteworthy contributions to advancing mental health in Sikkim. Through her training as a clinical psychologist and successive leadership roles within the state, she has demonstrated a deep and sustained commitment to her field of work. As State Program Coordinator for the District Mental Health Program and currently as Nodal Officer for the Sikkim Inspires Program, she has led several transformative initiatives, including the development of Sikkim's first mental health and suicide prevention strategy. As the first clinical psychologist in the state, she moved beyond clinical duties to engage in community-based mental health initiatives. She led early identification of intellectual disabilities in children with iodine deficiency and built grassroots capacity. As principal investigator for the Suicide Prevention Action Network, that SPAN project with NIMHANS, she helped develop a household-level screening tool to detect psychological distress and enable timely care. Over the years, Dr. Lasopa has taken on strategic roles that have shaped mental health policy, strengthened systems, and introduced digital innovations in care delivery. Her leadership enabled the notification of state mental health rules registration of mental health facilities under the State Mental Health Authority, that's the SMHA, and launch of the Swasthman self-screening app. She led the launch of Sikkim's Telemanas Cell, expanding remote mental health services and enabling trauma-informed counseling during the 2023 Glacial Lake outburst floods. Her efforts in prevention-focused programming include the integration of life skills education into the school curriculum that is proposed to be implemented in more than 700 government schools in Sikkim. Dr. Lasopa's leadership in crisis response, sustained community engagement, and cross-sector collaboration establish her as a key figure in public mental health in India and a deserving recipient of the Keshav Desiraju Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health for the year 2025. Many congratulations to you, Dr. Lasopa. I will now read the jury citation for Dr. Dares Ahmed. Dares Ahmed is awarded the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health 2025 for his visionary leadership and systemic reforms that have significantly advanced mental health in Tamil Nadu. Through his role as an Indian Administrative Service Officer and during his appointment as Director of the National Health Mission, Tamil Nadu, he has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to strengthening mental health systems, suicide prevention, and cross-sector collaboration. Under his leadership, the state government signed its first ever MOUs in mental health with SNEHA for suicide prevention and SCARF for dementia care, marking a new era of partnerships with civil society organizations. Dr. Ahmed has led several impactful initiatives, including the ban on high-risk pesticides, to reduce pesticide-related suicides, making Tamil Nadu the first state in India to take this preventive step. In 2023, during the wake of student suicides following the NEET examination, he mobilized counselors through the 104 helpline to provide proactive outreach to over 1 lakh students. He also extended psychosocial support to medical students returning from Ukraine and played a significant role in drafting the Tamil Nadu Suicide Prevention Strategy. Through his efforts, access to basic psychotropic medications at primary health centers has been ensured. Additionally, he also introduced a trauma systems approach through the Tamil Nadu Accident and Emergency Initiative, linking pre-hospital, in-hospital, and rehabilitation care. Dr. Ahmed's passionate advocacy for mental health, combined with system-level reforms and inclusive policy making, make him a deserving recipient of the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health for the year 2025. I would now like to hand over the mic to both of you. I will begin with Dr. Sonam Lasopa. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive the Keshav Desiraju Memorial Award for Outstanding Public Service in Mental Health. As I've heard this evening, this recognition means so much, not just because of the award itself, but because of the legacy of the man that this award honors. Mr. Keshav Desiraju is a visionary, a champion for the dignity and rights of every individual in our country, and his leadership has helped bring
mental health into the national discourse. And to be associated with his name in any capacity is a profound privilege for me. Of course, this award is not just mine alone. It belongs to the communities that we work with, the teams that we have been part of, and also every person living with a mental health condition whom we serve. There is still much work to do for mental health in Sikkim. Access to mental health care services remains unequal. Structural, systemic, socio-cultural, and personal barriers continue to shape who gets care and who doesn't. The task before us is to build systems that are not just accessible, but also just, inclusive, and healing. And I accept this award in solidarity with everyone working towards that vision, and in the spirit of Mr. Keshav Desiraju, who reminded us that public service is not a position, it is a purpose. I thank the jury, the organizers, the family and friends of Mr. Keshav Desiraju, and the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy in the Indian Law Society for this honor. I also take this opportunity to express my utmost gratitude to the Center for being a very important part of Sikkim's journey to improved mental health care and well-being. I carry this honor with deep gratefulness and renewed commitment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lasopa. Many congratulations once again. Dr. Darius Ahmed, over to you.
Good evening, all. And it's been a great honor and privilege to have an award which is named after one of the role models which I have followed in my career, Mr. Keshav Desiraju. As an officer, we have always looked up to him to emulate the kind of work and dedication and integrity with which he does. And that's been a really great honor for me. I'm traveling, so it may be a little difficult. The signal may be right, may not be right. So here, I would like to say that the award really motivates all the people who have really worked with me in improving the mental health service delivery in the state of Tamil Nadu. It's been a very long and a tough process. And we have great organizations which are already working in Tamil Nadu, like Sneha Scarf Banyan. And we have a great amount of legacy, and administratively, we have been helped by a lot of great souls who has helped us in organizing the care in mental health. And I thank the jury, I thank for mental health law and policy, and all other well-wishers who has honored me with this great recognition. And the most important fact is that a lot of work needs to be done. And this really inspires me to really work harder and ensure that the underprivileged and underserved, which Mr. Keshav Desiraju sir's work has always been, to give them the voice and make them be heard. So in that way, it's really a moving experience for me. And the last half an hour, whatever I have listened to, has really made me understand the kind of man he is and the kind of man I should aspire to be. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Darius Ahmed. Congratulations once again to both the winners. And as with all meaningful moments, this special evening must draw to a close too. It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Soumitra Pathare, the Director of the Center for Mental Health Law and Policy at the Indian Law Society, to offer the vote of thanks. The stage is yours, Soumitra.
Thank you, Meera. Thank you, everybody. This is always a bittersweet day. Congratulations to the winners of this year's award, and we celebrate Keshav's life, a life well lived. But it's also a reminder that Keshav left us too early, and I'm sure friends and family have never forgotten him for it. The thing that I miss most is my Sunday morning gossip sessions, which my wife Seema always found amusing, and would say that you're like two giggly girls at school. which always cracked me up and cracked up Keshav too. I want to thank the Indian Law Society for instituting and supporting the annual Keshav Desiraju Award. I also want to thank Rohini, Ravi, and Satyajit for making time from their schedules to share these memories of Keshav with all of us. Thank you to our jury, Anand, Sonalini, Amitabha, for giving time in going through the applications and choosing the winners. And finally, I want to thank our team, Meera, Vinita, Sufwan, Prajakta, Ramya, Shubhada, and Amiti for the hard work in making these awards a reality and the ceremony a success as every year. It would not be possible without your efforts. Thank you so much, and back to you, Meera.
Thank you so much, Samitra. It has indeed been a pleasure for me to work with the team and host today's event. It fills me with great emotion every year to be able to speak about a person who has had such a long-lasting impact on so many lives. I'd also like to thank you, Samitra, for your guidance right through the award ceremony and the work around the award. Also, our sign language interpreters, Ms. Preeti Sapra and Mr. Atul Kumar. And thank you to our very warm audience for making time every year to be here. We really look forward to your presence once again in 2026 to honor the life and legacy of Keshav Desiraju, an extraordinary human being. Thank you again and have a good evening ahead.